public session. Okay, thank you, Marian. Okay, members, welcome to the 44th meeting of the Public Accounts Committee in this mandate. Can I advise all members that the committee meeting will be recorded and broadcast throughout Parliament buildings and online. However, there could be a slight delay in moving between any private and public sessions, so please be patient with the system. Can I also advise anyone who will be joining us in the public gallery that they're welcome to use mobile devices as long as such devices are in airplane mode and muted. They can connect to the Assembly Wi-Fi, and the password can be found in the gallery rules, and it is not permitted to record or photograph any part of today's proceedings. We'll proceed through the agenda as follows. We have apologies from Cathal Boylan MLA. We also will be joined online by our Assistant Clerk Kirsten, and joining us shortly will be Padraig Delargy, MLA. Okay, members, can I refer you to a copy of the amended draft minutes for the meeting for the 22nd of May at pages 12 to 19 of the papers, and also to the meeting on the 29th of May, the minutes for the meeting of the 29th of May at pages 7 to 11 of the meeting papers. Are members content that they are an accurate reflection of the meeting and okay for me to sign them? Right. Thank you. Okay, members, can I remind you that we've considered the full agenda for the meeting and that any relevant declarations of interest are made early in the meeting to ensure that they are recorded in open session. Has members any relevant declaration of interest to declare at this stage for any of the items to be discussed today? Cheryl?
Policing Board and Education Committee member.
Yeah.
APS for the Education Minister and Board of Governors.
Education Committee and also Chair of the Board of Governors, Chair.
Member of Board of Governors, primary school?
No. Board of Governors.
Well, these are all busy people.
Right.
Okay, thanks very much. That's very much appreciated. Members, I did raise last week about the importance of having a strong attendance for the inquiry inquiry into the school's estate begins next week, and it would be appreciated, unless entirely unavoidable or due to other commitments, that members are here in person for that. It's the most effective way to ensure good scrutiny and that we get the most out of that particular session on that very important issue. Also, I'm conscious that we require a committee photograph, and it would be appreciated if we could arrange that for next week, if possible. So, David, have your hair cut and all the rest.
There we are.
Okay, thank you, members. Can I refer members to pages 23 to 25, where there is a response from the Chair of the Northern Ireland Policing Board in respect of the Northern Ireland Audit Office report into PSNI fleet management. And you'll recall that this report was referred by the committee to the Policing Board for its consideration, and the letter advises that the Policing Board's Resources Committee considered the Northern Ireland Audit Office report on PSNI fleet management on the 29th of May. The Policy Board Resources Committee received assurances that the PSNI have accepted the 10 recommendations in the Northern Ireland Audit Office report and were provided with initial management responses on how PSNI intend to address the issues. The letter concludes by stating that the committee will continue to monitor the progress the PSNI is making against the recommendations through its scheduled committee work programme. Members, you'll remember that at the time we were very clear in the reasoning as to why we referred this to the Policing Board. We felt it was strongly for best placed for them to consider, and I believe that was the right decision. Chairman, was it received okay by the Policing Board?
Yeah, just on that, so I don't actually sit on the Resources Committee, but I did bring this up at the to the Chief Constable directly at the board meeting last month. So it has been raised at that level. I know there's commitment, that this needs addressed, and it's also very important that there's efficiencies here that could be made for the police, obviously in a difficult budget situation too. So I do think, yes, it's keep an eye on that as well.
Yes, thank you for that update. I think it is important to point out that this committee appreciates the important role of the policing board and the function that they have with the various subcommittees that are in place, and that is the reasoning for our referral to them for their consideration. So I appreciate that they have taken on board the recommendations by the Northern Ireland Audit Office and have agreed to accept those recommendations, and I appreciate them doing that. Members, are you content to note the correspondence from the PSNI?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Pages 26 to 57, where there is a response from Ian Snowden, Accounting Officer for the Department for the Economy, in response to a recent letter following the disclaimed departmental accounts. The preceding correspondence has also been provided for ease of reference. This is a lengthy piece of correspondence. It provides some reassurance that the Department are taking these matters seriously. The audit of this year's accounts is due to take place over the summer recess. Members, are you content to note this correspondence on that basis and consider this matter later in the year when the outcome of the further audit is known? Yep. Okay, are you also content to share the letter with the CNAG, given that she referenced in it? Yep. Okay. Okay, members, at agenda item 6, there's a memo from the Assembly and the Executive Review Committee at pages 58 to 63 of the pack. The AERC are seeking views on how committees best work together on cross-cutting issues and on scrutiny of cross-cutting legislation. Can I refer to the table pack, which is at page 305, and ask the clerk to brief the committee?
Thank you, Chair. So yes, just in summary, the Assembly and Executive Review Committee, they've launched this review of Assembly Committee engagement on cross-cutting executive strategies, and they've sent a call out for evidence to key stakeholders, including the Public Accounts Committee. So all the relevant papers are in your packet, pages 58 to 63. The deadline for the response is the 30th of September. So they're actually, what they're doing is they're inviting PAC and other committees to submit a written response by citizen space, and some of the questions they are pretty detailed, but they're looking for examples of PAC's experience of scrutiny of cross-cutting executive strategies, what has worked well and less well, and issues that they've encountered, and potential benefits of committee scrutiny of cross-cutting strategies. So some of this is very relevant to the work that PAC has been done across all the inquiries this year. So as I say, they're looking for quite a lot of detailed information. They're also looking for views and experience of scrutiny of cross-cutting legislation. So for example, the Children's Services Cooperation Act. So some of the legislative stuff, it might be, sort of less relevant to this committee. However, I know that the committee has touched upon some of that as well. So in terms of next steps, it'll be a matter for the committee to consider, examples, and to complete the survey. So what I would suggest is that myself and the team prepare a draft response that could be used for the citizen space survey, and then sort of seek your agreement and your contributions to that. We'll try to get it to you before summer recess in draft, and then take away any views you might have and come back with a more final position in September, in time for the deadline of the 30th of September. So there is time, but it would be good to get something from you before July. So that's just a sort of proposed timeline that I've laid out in my paper. So it's really if you had any questions or suggestions in terms of the approach at this stage.
Thank you. I think it is quite topical given some of the issues that have raised, the common issues that have raised their heads throughout the various inquiries that we have had. So I don't see any issue in that, and I'm happy with the suggestions that you've put before us, Alicia. Is any other members, you all content with?
I think it is important. Like, clearly we have identified
Yes.
cross-cutting as being a major issue across nearly all of our reports. And just to declare the interest as chair of the Communities Committee, there's a huge interest there in relation to, for example, anti-poverty strategy. So it's a key nut for us to crack here as an institution, and I think it's good to get an opportunity to feedback. So I'd agree with that approach. Happy with the timelines.
Content? Okay, members. We seek agreement on those actions as suggested. Okay.
Great.
All right, Alicia. Okay, members, Padraig Delargy, Emily, has joined us. Thank you, Padraig. We'll now move into closed session. Members agreed? Okay, thank you.